He got it wrong! So we've been sitting here, there's lots of things after Yogi Bear. Mark got it wrong. Anyway, Grain Chill this afternoon, I want to know what's happening with Mike. But now with CPAC subtitles, a brand new episode of the Really Wild Show series.
Hello and a warm welcome back to the studios here in Bristol for a brand new series of... Oh, that's not bad. Well, with loads of animals and a really wild audience.
Well, since the last series, we've been getting into the movies, so coming soon to a really wild screen in your living room, Chris Packham stars in a remake of The Birds.
And Terence Nutkins, Brat Pack actor, stars in our own remake of Jaws, only he's with a dolphin rather than a great white shark.
And Nick's been chased around the maze by the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Sean Connery and Harrison Ford will have to move over for these two new stars.
Well, that's enough of the trailers. Let's get on with the main feature. Dee. This is a Harris hawk, all the way from North America. And she's come along this morning to help us answer a question from Maxine Mitchell, who wants to know which animal has the sharpest claws in the world. Well, take a look at these. This is certainly a potential candidate with these talons.
But they're nothing compared to these. They're 9 centimetres long. They're some of the strongest claws that a mammal can have, and they belong to a sloth. Now, they look so sharp and curved because they have to act as giant, ultra-strong coat hangers. In fact, they're quite blunt. They have to support the whole weight of the animal, and that's about 10 kilos. And sloths like this spend most of their time hanging around in the treetops. So those very strong claws have to support their whole weight.
But the problem is with some land animals with sharp claws is that they blunt them when they walk around. Now, cats like this Indian jungle cat really do protect their claws. What they do is sheathe them. Let me just show you what happens. There we are, you see? That's the claw out, and that's the claw back in there. It really is a hidden lethal weapon.
Well, you know, nails are very, very similar to claws because they're made of the same stuff. They're made of a substance called keratin, the same stuff as your hair's made out of. The only difference is that claws have got 2 layers of keratin and nails have got just 1. But most mammals have got claws, except for higher primates, the apes and monkeys like us, which have nails. But there are some primates, like these guys, that have both. These are nocturnal animals. They're slow lorises from Southeast Asia. And you can probably see on their little fingers, they've got tiny, neat little nails. Because nails don't get in the way when they're using those sensitive fingers to cling onto branches and using them to manipulate food. But on their second finger, they have a claw. Now, it's called the toilet claw, and it's longer and thinner than any other claw, any of their nails, and they use it specially for grooming and preening their fur, keeping it in tip-top condition.
Let me see if I can show you just how sharp that Harris hawk's claws are. I've got some material here. It's actually pastry. Sounds a bit bizarre, but let me see if I can show you what I mean. Now, where's the bird? Ah, Dee, come on. Come on. Now, she loves her meat, but you can see what a mess she's made of that pastry there. And that's because her claws are her killing weapons. Now, if you look closely at this index claw here, you can see that it's not only sharp, but it's actually got a cutting edge down here for tearing the flesh up. And the rear claw at the back here is hooked to pin the prey down as she's tearing it up. So our candidate for the sharpest claw is without doubt this splendid Harris hawk.
She's really good.
Oh, well, I could take her home with me, I'll tell you.
Oh, yuck, just look at these. Aren't they disgusting? Have you ever seen anything quite so ugly? Ugh. I bet you're wondering what all this is about. Well, Andrina Clark from Birmingham wants to know.
What animal has the funniest face?
Well, this lot have managed to create some pretty horrible ones, but we reckon that Michael here can make the funniest faces of all. All right, you lot, rest your faces. Michael, do your worst. Oh, dear. Horrible, isn't it? Yeah, oh, I like that one. You'd never think he could do that with his face to look at him, would you? Terrible. Well, human beings can make funny faces because we've got lots of muscles in our faces underneath the skin, so we can create lots and lots of different expressions.
Now, even dogs change the shape of their face when communicating with each other. Now, Saxon here is a trained police dog, and he's really friendly. Until he gets the word from PC Holmes, and then he changes completely. Shall we give him the word? Now, as you can see, his face changes completely. His lips curl up, his ears flatten, and the hairs on his back really do go up on end. And what he's doing is saying to the other dogs, I'm big, I'm aggressive, and keep well away. Well, I've certainly learnt my lesson. I'm keeping away.
There you are, you see. There are animals that have faces like we have and can use them to communicate. And, Andrina, some of them can be pretty funny.
Seem to have arrived. Where are we?
How do you expect me to know? It's pitch black in here.
Never thought of striking a light.
Okay.
Just look at this. This must be the tomb of Nicodavius, our last quest.
Okay. Just don't get frightened like you did last time. Take it easy. What on earth's that noise?
It's my heartbeat. When I get frightened, it beats faster. Pumps the blood around my body.
Yeah.
Calling out is another reaction to fright. Lots of animals do it. In fact, alarm.
Yeah. Vervet monkeys, blackbirds. I've heard it all before, Dad.
More archaeologists invade my tomb. My only defense is to frighten them. It works for any animal.
What's happened to your hair? I suppose you're terrified again.
Why does it have to be spiders? I'm absolutely terrified of spiders. Let's move on, please.
We must be getting close. That was a close thing.
Now you're frightened. All the blood strains from your face to your muscles. That's how any animal prepares for escape or attack. Very interesting.
Yeah. Come on. We've got to get past these spikes. Nasty.
Ha! This means another challenge.
I suppose that's your stomach.
No, I think it's coming from behind us!
That was close. Where's the old man?
I'm up here. All this fear means you release a chemical in the bloodstream called adrenaline, which means I can achieve great feats, like running fast or jumping high.
Oh no! There's only one thing left to do. The final challenge. I am the ghost of Nicodavius.
She trying to frighten us?
I guess so.
Perhaps this will be more frightening.
You know, Dad, there's only one thing to do in a frightening situation like this.
What's that?
Run for it!
We've had a very unusual letter from a Mr. S. Claus from the far north. He says, "Dear Really Wild Show, is there any animal that would be better than a reindeer for delivering Christmas presents?" That's a very interesting question, isn't it, Terry?
Certainly is, Nick, and this is what it's all about, because this is Christian, and he's a 3-year-old reindeer. Isn't he wonderful? Yeah.
He's gorgeous, and everything about him is perfectly adapted for living in the far north. His coat, his feet, and even his diet are ideal for Arctic life. Reindeer are the only species of deer where the male and the female both have antlers. Now, antlers are about the fastest growing animal tissue. In reindeer, they can go from nothing to up to 30 kilos in just 4 months, so that's very fast indeed.
If that Mr. S. Claus was to choose a more conventional animal, he might choose this horse here. It's much larger, much stronger, much more muscular, and much faster.
Well, that's all very well, but this reindeer is specialised for winter transport, because in winter, their coat grows long, hollow guard hairs that traps a warm layer of air right next to the skin, so that reindeer are cosy and toasty warm right down to minus 45 degrees centigrade.
Well, that's all very well, but just look at these legs. Long, thin, very muscular, carries it along at a great pace and tipped off with a great hoof at the bottom. After all, when was the last time a reindeer won the Grand National?
Yeah, wonderful, Chris, but they're no good on snow. Reindeer's feet are far better adapted for travelling across snow. And in fact, if you look very closely at them, you can see they're crescent-shaped, they're flat, and they can take weights of up to 250 kilograms. So you really couldn't choose a better animal to tow a sledge across the snow. They can travel 1,000 kilometres in one go, and they can do all that without needing to eat. They've got a tremendous sense of direction, and they really are really well waterproofed. And they do all that without getting a red nose. Well, without a doubt, the fix-it most requested by everyone is to meet a dolphin.
Over the years, we've had thousands and thousands of letters, but it's impossible to choose just one.
At the end of the last series, we had this rather cryptic note, and it took us a full 5 minutes to find out who it was from, and it was from a chap called Leon Chevalier.
And a week later, we had this from Leon, and it's got a letter on the back.
Well, after seeing that, that's when we surrendered. But where do you find a dolphin to swim with? In Dingle Bay, Southern Ireland.
Have you been looking forward to seeing Fungi the dolphin, Liam?
Oh yes, I've been jumping around all weekend.
Have you? Never seen a wild dolphin before?
Never.
Great, well, you've got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Hello, Ronnie. Sorry we've kept you waiting, mate. Oh, it's a good day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get going.
Well then, okay.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fungi is a bottlenose dolphin, and he's been visiting Dingle for 6 years. We just hoped he was around today. Hey! Right, okay, Leon, you're in the water.
Yeah.
What does it feel like?
Quite warm.
Quite warm. Right, you're braver than I am. I think it's cold. But anyway, this is the spot where fungi is usually seen. And the way dolphins communicate is by splashing their tails on the water. It's called a tail slap. So if we just slap like that with the oar, there's a very good chance that the dolphin's going to come over here. Sound travels long distances in water, and dolphins use it for communication. But fungi had the whole of Dingle Bay to play in. There are about 20 species of dolphin around our coast, but very sadly, we don't see them so often, except for one like this, which is very unusual. And the reason we don't see them is because of pollution, because there are lots of fast boats going around the coast, and thirdly, because we've overfished the seas. And then, all of a sudden, he appeared by the boat. He'd come right across the bay and was popping out of the water as if he was looking for us. Leon splashed like mad, calling his name. It worked. There he was, right beside us, having a whale of a time swimming round and round. Fungi is 3 meters long and weighs 200 kilograms, perfectly designed for life underwater. And he really did swim rings round us. We headed for the boat, but Fungi got there first. Getting up, isn't it?
Yeah,
What do you think of that?
it's just brilliant.
Just brilliant. Let's take that off so everyone can see you. Tell everyone out there what you think of dolphins.
They're great and they're just really beautiful creatures.
And Fungi was so taken with Leon, he even followed us home.
Setsumas, get your lovely white brown Setsumas.
All on hard times then, old boy.
She left me.
Very sad. Got any cucumbers then?
I've got some beauties down here, actually. Sea cucumbers. And in fact, they're so beautiful that the Chinese spend a lot of their time eating them. In fact, they eat 13,000 tons of sea cucumber each year.
They look pretty disgusting to me.
Well, they're not really. They're actually related to starfish, and there are loads of different sorts of them all over the world. These are British ones, and they spend most of their time at the bottom of the ocean, sifting around in all of the silt there, where they feed on algae. And in fact, they can sift so much silt that over a ton of it can go through their body each year.
Oh, well, that's quite an achievement. All right, then, who's brave enough to touch one of these?
What about you? You look like a cucumber handler. Come and cop hold of this one. Now, I've been reliably informed that this one here is pretty tame. So tell us what you think about this.
It's like all squashy and melted Play-Doh and it slipped through your fingers.
Do you think you'd like to eat one of those?
No.
You wouldn't? How
No.
about a pet one? How about a pet sea
Yeah,
cucumber?
like a pet one.
Right, you can have that one then. His name's Stanley and he'll cost you 75 pence. What do you think? Let me pop him back in because they like it best in the water. Thanks a lot.
We have to be extremely careful handling these guys because they've got a very nasty trick up their tails. When they feel threatened, they shoot a mass of sticky threads out of their bottoms. It doesn't harm them, but it entraps and entangles potential predators.
Well, they do have a pleasant side as well, though, because if you look very closely, you can see there are hundreds of tiny tube feet. Now, those are small protuberances which are worked through a water pressure system inside the sea cucumber, and they help it not only to walk along, but also to feed. Now, at the other end of its body, it's got quite a powerful sucker, which can really anchor it quite tightly to the bottom.
And that gives it quite a powerful grip, I can tell you. No, I can't move them at all. And they also use their tube feet for feeding, because up here at the mouth end, there are a whole load of specialised tube feet that collect food and pass it into the mouth.
So there you go. They look pretty nasty, they feel pretty nasty, but they are rather interesting, and I'd vote for sea cucumbers.
Yeah, so would I. Certainly wouldn't put one in a sandwich.
Captain's log, stardate 13/2/90. An unfortunate accident has befallen Second Officer Spock, whose ears mysteriously vanished as he transported back to Enterprise. Our mission is to boldly go forth and search the galaxy for Spock's ears. Don't worry, sir. We'll find them this time.
I certainly hope so, Crewman Nutkins. Being earless is most illogical.
Beam us down then, Mr. Spock. Oh, well, here we are. Good luck, Nutkins. Well, here's something that looks as alien as Spock. They're Indian black crickets, and they don't appear to have any earlobes. But in fact, insects like this hear very well. In fact, they use sound, they use calls to communicate with each other. But their ears are rather hidden away. Now, I need to get hold of one to be able to show you. I'll get hold of this little chap here. There we go. Now, the ear is just a membrane stretched across an opening on the leg. In fact, it's only about 2 or 3 millimetres across. And the membrane vibrates when sound hits it, and nerves carry the message back to the brain, and that's how the cricket hears. They're rather like Spock, really. They've got ears, but no earlobes.
It's not easy finding ears on a fish either. And water really is an alien environment for us. But fish really are well adapted to it. And they have ears all the way along the length of their body. And they form an organ called the lateral line. Now, you can't see the sensors because they're just under the surface of the skin. But what you can see on these red barley sharks is the black line. And you can see it from the head all the way down to the tail. Now, in this tank here, we've got a microphone. And if I put my hands in the water on the top there, you should be able to hear the sound underneath the water. Now, it's quite loud, and the fish are sensing it as well. Now, not only do they just sense sound, but they also sense vibration and movement. That's why fish are so difficult to catch by hand, because they're hearing so good.
Davis to Enterprise. We've located some ears for you, Mr. Spock. I suggest you beam them up.
There seems pronounced confusion amongst the crew. This avian creature is a Bengal eagle owl from the subcontinent of India on the planet Earth. Indeed, these feathery adaptations on the top of its head serve no auditory value. They are simply for emotional display. Its true functional apparatus is hidden behind the mask of its face, and logically, one ear is placed higher than the other, giving this creature the capability of hearing the difference between a loud sound a long way away and a quiet sound close to. A system which is indeed necessary for hunting in low light levels. This creature is obviously far superior in intelligence to that of our crew. Gentlemen, please continue your scan for auditory devices. Spock out.
At last, ears like Spock's. It's only mammals that got external ears, and these ones are attached to a fennec fox. Now, fennecs are the smallest foxes on the planet. They weigh just 1.5 kilos. They've got tiny faces, just 6 centimetres long, but those ears can be 10 centimetres long. Now, they use them not just for hearing, but to keep cool. They're very big and thin, and they've got a rich supply of blood vessels. So when the fox gets hot, it pumps blood through the ears, and it's cooled by air circulating round them. It's just like a car radiator. In fact, lots of mammals that live in hot climates use the same sort of system. It's one of the reasons why elephants have got such big ears.
Since we Vulcans remain cool at all times, those ears would be entirely inappropriate. It appears I shall have to search out my own hearing apparatus.
Well, I reckon these would make ideal replacement ears. This is a miniature donkey from a rare breed that live in Sardinia. And this one's about 62 centimetres tall, and the ears are about 22 centimetres, and they grow to a point, and they're very manoeuvrable.
And I think these would really suit you, Mr. Spock.
Well, if that was the case, Nick, I'd say you were trying to make rather an ass of me.
Oh, terrible.
Yes, that's this week's joke, folks. In the meantime, for goodness sake, Scotty, beam me up.
Bye.
Why is Toby's father in prison?
Because of injustice.
Oh yeah, like all of them geezers in there.
Pack it in, Barney.
Wasn't me that done it, Gov.
It's true, it was a mistake. I'm going to prove it.
Clean as a whistle, is he?
Well, he just got sort of drawn in out of his debt.
Sure.
It was a mistake.
Well, if so, Toby, son. We was mistook too.
Right?
Letting you gang up with us.
What do you mean?
We don't know we can trust you. Not if you ain't no villain.
Don't be such a wally.
We don't.
Toby's part of us now. He's taken the blood oath. Of course we can trust him.
Right.
Are they troublemakers? Find out tomorrow at 5:10 with the start of a brand new series here, of course, on Children's BBC. More Really Wild Show next week. Grange Hill still to come this afternoon. But right now, the latest news in Newsround with Helen.